Good morning, YouTube. It's Florida Deere here with a video, sort of a post-pre video about stump grinding. But before we got to the stump grinding part, we had to take down these two trees. The one I'm most concerned about, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it's the one I have the rope attached to. Is an older oak tree that's, well, it's not that old, but it's an oak tree that's just not that healthy, and it's close to the workshop. And I'm about to do a new roof on the workshop. And what better time to take the tree down that's not that great. And before I do the roof, just in case there's some sort of terrible damage that happens and it goes the opposite way of where that rope is draped. And of course, if that happens, you won't probably see this video. So if you see this video, everything went fine. Anyway, so it is leaning towards the workshop, but I've dealt with trees before that have done that, and I want to try to get through that little gap right there between this tree and that tree. So I'm going to drop it right there where the tractor is. Of course, my son's going to be pulling forward on the tractor, giving it the required tension to pull it the way we want. We got up in there in the extended extension ladder to put it that high to give us a little more leverage. And we got multiple knots and pieces of rope that we've used multiple times before in this process of taking down trees. I'm no expert. I've done it a number of times, but the idea is we'll get it down, and then you'll see this later on, but there's a lot of roots in here that I gotta stump grind as well. Here, there, here. This one has a lot. It's just a very, it's not a great tree to mow around and constantly dropping stuff on the workshop. It's not a particularly healthy tree. And then this one we'll get down to. I'm much less concerned about this one. This is a cherry tree that's basically straight up. It's smaller. Many reasons to not be as concerned about that tree. And my son is going to pull the tractor continually through there. Remember, the rope doesn't have to be longer than the tree. It just has to be longer than the tree from that point up, which it is. It's actually probably almost twice that distance, but anyway. So again, if everything goes well, you'll see this video. If it doesn't, then you won't see this video. Now, my wife has agreed to video this and run the camera for us. That's probably not necessarily out of her being helpful, although she is, as much as it is her being concerned about things. She's kind of like the Debbie Downer character in the Saturday Night Live skits. The wah, wah, wah. So even though we've done this a number of times, she is concerned because Matthew is involved and we'll be running the tractor, as I'll be running the chainsaw down there at the base of the tree. That she wants to be here, I guess, when things go wrong, or maybe when things go right as well. I don't know. Anyway, I've taken the trailer out of the marshmallow, and just in case, and we'll get this show on the road and see how we do here. I think it'll be a success, but if it's not, you won't know. All right, thanks for watching. So here I was speeding some things up on the video just so we could get through this part. It took just a few minutes to get it down, and while I've done this a number of times, I'm no expert, but I did have some experience. But it's still concerning because the tree can still drop, where you don't want it to drop, but it did drop, where it needed to go, basically within a 5 or 10 degree angle of where it needed to be, dropping between the other two trees and not hitting any other structures or people or tractors. And Matthew was on there, not on the tractor the first time, but pulling the tree down involved with this kind of work. I believe that the rope was long enough to actually not hit him at all, but the tension on the tractor and the way it was cut made it fall the right way. And I'm giving frantically him, some instruction the whole time. And then, when we get done, I give Chrissy the 2 thumbs up, with a job well done, with the scariest part of the job. So anyways, and we'll go on some more here. So as you're watching this, just know that your depth perception on a stump is not ideal because it's hard to see past most of this machinery without a spotter. It's sort of one of the hardest attachments to deal with because I'm kind of concerned right now about how my neck's going to be the next day. And Tractor Time with Tim had gone over that in one of his videos with the Baumalight, and a shout out to Tim for giving me the 5% off. I used the TTWT code for, and I think I saved, I don't know, 125 bucks on this thing. It was either this or the Woodland Mills. And both of them were pretty competitively priced, but this one came very quickly. And obviously I'd seen it on Tim's channel, and I was just elated to have a stump grinder. It does help out quite a bit. As you can see, my first couple passes through there were not focused on, you want to go behind the stump and then pull through it, and I wasn't getting far enough behind it on the first two passes. But this one's the smaller stump. I'm going to let it go all real time so you can see how long it had taken. And I think it was like 5 or 6 minutes, something like that. Wasn't very long. And maybe you could go a little quicker, or maybe you're supposed to not go quite this quick. I don't know. I think Tim generally goes a little slower. Right there I'm really getting on it, and so you can kind of go a little smoother than that, probably take yourself a little bit longer. On the other stump, I found a piece of rebar, and there was some other little metal, smaller gauge metal fencing that was involved in the ground somewhere. So I was kind of frustrated by that, but I mean, you just don't know about that stuff until you get going, and this was obviously somebody else's property before I owned it, and I guess they had a fence there. So this it is one of my best attachments, just because it's so useful, and I kind of talk about that, in a little bit longer, a little bit more into the video here. I'll kind of elaborate on that, and I'll let you listen to the stump grinder now. So here, I actually did this stump first, or most of this stump first before I did the other one, but just in case you got bored, I wanted to show the easier stump first, which I'm pretty sure I got the whole thing taken care of. As you can see here, I am a couple feet away from the stump, but there's these roots that this and this wasn't a huge oak tree by any stretch of the imagination. It was just, it had a lot of above surface roots, and which made mowing around it a pain in the butt. And so, I'm trying to get this thing lined up, and that's kind of one of the things, is all this work is behind you, like so many, 3-point, or all 3-point equipment really, but some 3-point equipment like tillers and bush hogs and stuff, you don't have to look behind you really to do. It's more of a broad-based kind of cutting through stuff, back and forth, where this is sort of more of a precision tool in that sense. So, and I'm adjusting. Obviously, I've gotten the my slip clutch is too loose. I adjusted it, and I think I get through this route, and then I make the adjustment. And because I could tell it was stopping a couple times, and you can see that it's sort of the speed of the disc and the speed of the PTO shaft is somewhat different. I think you can even tell it in this picture. And and this was a bear. This particular stump, definitely the biggest stump I think I've ever taken care of, or at least the biggest one that was fresh. I've taken care of some other. Actually, there was definitely, the neighbor had one that was bigger, but it had been a cut off stump for some time, so the stump grinder kind of cut through it like butter. So this was just kind of the route that I was trying to get through, and I'll take it to the stump here in just a minute. So as I'm working here, I've been grinding away on this stump. I did skip over the parts where I was just trying to get the roots and stuff, and just kind of show you how how the stump grinder acts through the actual stump, which is obviously more substantial than just a couple roots. But right here, I hit a piece of rebar that I spoke about earlier, and I think I'm just sitting there going, what the heck was that? So I shut off everything and get out, and I'm thinking, what's going on with the wheel here? Don't see anything over there. So I look over here, and sure enough, then it's pretty much obvious it's right in there. And I think there were some choice words that came out just because I just think, what on earth is this piece of, large piece of metal doing in the middle of my yard, in this tree stump or whatever. So, who knows. And then I think there was a couple of little pieces of wire, like fence in there as well. I don't know if I picked up those there at another time. And but this was difficult because the way you sit and try to monitor what you're doing, you kind of crossed over with your feet, and Tim Marks talked about this in his video as well with the Baumalight. It's how you have to sit in there, and you end up having some neck pain. And then going up a hill, this was on a slight incline, not huge, but so you're trying to feather your way through the stump. But as you go through a hill, sometimes you're going down the hill faster unless you're putting the brake on, or trying to use the other, your other foot. So you're using opposite foots or opposite feet on your pedals than normal. And you're generally using it. I was using my left foot to operate the forward and backward pedals here, and which is just not it's not intuitive. And then operating the 3-point and the third SCV was difficult too, just because you are operating it still with the same hand, but it's in a different angle. So anyway, maybe I'm just making complaints and excuses, but it's definitely different. And so the good part about having a stump grinder, though, is as good a job as I'm doing here, getting through the thing, making sure I get the whole stump and the grinder, and like I did the other one is certainly squared away. I don't have to worry about it, but it was taken care of. But there's going to be no stump left, but there's invariably going to be some stump left. I think on this one, I think I went back already once, and later on, and got an area that was still sticking up. And that was the thing with when you hire a stump guy, they just drive through it, and they'll try to get most of it for the most part if you have a decent guy. But if part of it's covered in dirt or something, they're not really going to spend a whole lot of extra time looking for more stumps, more of the stump in the dirt. The last time I had a guy over was a couple years ago. I did have the 40 on the 445, so I was going over everything that he went over to make sure that he got the whole thing, and made him come back and hit 2 more things in the backyard after he went up to the front yard. But I didn't know until I had gone through it, so he kind of fussed about that. But I mean, hey buddy, I'm paying you for work to be done. I expect the whole stump to be gone. Otherwise, why do I have you buy it? But anyways, this is convenient, though. I will probably end up making some money with it to pay for itself to a certain extent. But the fact that I don't have to pay anybody for stump grinding is pretty awesome. And pretty much, my family members don't have to pay anybody for stump grinding anymore. And also, like, if I have one stump, I mean, no stump grinder's guy is going to come by and want to do one stump for you. So if I have one stump or 2 stumps like today, then I can just knock it out quick and it'll be done. I don't have to wait for more stumps to happen, in order to invite the guy over to pay him, $200 or $300. And these things will probably drive down the cost of stump grinding, because the cost of entry is a lot less than a regular stump grinder. And while the regular stump grinders probably are overall better, or at least the longevity is than these machines, I would guess, although maybe that's unproven yet. There's going to be more people, like myself or whatever, that can do stump grinding work So that may drive down the cost of the actual service. We'll see. But I do find it convenient to be able to, just, hit another stump again if I didn't get it. I'll let this stuff settle and then, kind of deal with it that way. So anyways, I'll let you continue to listen to this. this is pretty much the end of the video, and sort of like one of the more satisfying parts. I really do like my skills at back dragging, and they've come a long way. Not perfect or anything like that, but I do enjoy this part, and also the you get the chance to see sort of more of the finished product, so to speak, as if the trees were never there, you know, except for the you know, the wood chipped colored dirt. But you know, smoothing it out, getting it to look pretty nice, and you know, I think it looks pretty good. And I just again enjoy this part of the tractor work.